Several AMI pastors, including myself, have read Michael Heiser's The Unseen Realm. Some are now referencing it from the pulpit. The sole objective of this vlog is to give you a Reader's Digest version of Heiser's main argument so you can get the big picture quickly. Note that I'm not addressing here Heiser's repetitive claim that some key Old Testament ideas were taken from the literature of Israel's pagan neighbors. Such claims could be problematic, but that conversation is for another day. With that said, remember the numbers 2, 3, 1. 2 equals the two types of families God created, both with free will, the heavenly family and the earthly family. 3 equals the 3 successive rebellions against God, led by members of his heavenly family, which brought death and ruin to God's earthly family. 1 equals God's redemptive plan to restore heaven and earth, so these two families are united to co-reign with God on earth. Let's unpack them. First, God's two families. Who are the heavenly family? They are divine beings, and Heiser divides them into two groups. The higher ranked are called the sons of Most High, Psalm 82:6, the Holy Ones, Psalm 89:7, the sons of God, Job 38:7, or the host of heaven, 1 Kings 22:19. These so-called the sons of God, Bene Elohim Hebrew, are qualitatively different from Jesus, the Son of God, because Jesus, as a member of the Trinity, is uncreated and eternal, whereas these sons of God were created by Jesus himself, Colossians 1:16. That said, these sons of God have the privilege of sitting in God's council, a heavenly assembly where Yahweh consults and sovereignly determines what will happen on earth. Psalm 89:7 says, in the council of the Holy One, God is greatly feared. Psalm 82:1, God presides in the great assembly. He gives judgment among the gods. Note that Elohim, the Hebrew word used for gods, here is also used for Yahweh, the God of the Bible. This means that this term, Elohim, can mean the true God, divine beings, or false God, depending on context. 1 Kings 22:19 captures the Lord sitting on his throne and all the host of heaven standing by him as they discuss how to bring about the death of the evil king Ahab. The lower ranked divine beings are the ordinary angels, servants and messengers with lower level tasks. So then, who are the earthly family? That's us, humans made in the image of God. As God's imagers, our original task was to make the whole earth like Eden, God's home on earth. Second, 3 supernatural rebellions. All 3 rebellions share one feature. Members of the heavenly family use their free will to defy Yahweh, the God of the Bible. The first rebellion is recorded in Genesis 3 and committed by a lone son of God, also known as the guardian cherub, represented by the serpent in Genesis 3. Referring to him, Ezekiel 28:13-14 says, you were in Eden, anointed as guardian cherub, but he was expelled from heaven after becoming proud on account of his beauty. After successfully tempting Adam and Eve, this being becomes Satan, the adversary, and the ruler of the realm of the dead. The second rebellion, recorded in Genesis 6:1-4, refers to a group of sons of God taking human wives around the time of Noah, producing Nephilim. The disembodied spirits of these giants later became demons. 2 Peter 2:4 says these rebellious spirits were sent to hell, Tartarus in Greek, to be held for judgment. The third rebellion happened sometime after Yahweh judged the humans who united in the desire to reach into heaven by building a tower, Tower Babel, to make a name for themselves. Recorded in Genesis 11, God responded by confusing their language and scattering them abroad over the face of the whole earth. Genesis 10 indicates that 70 nations were produced at this juncture. Fed up with these rebellious humans, God disinherited them, as in, you are no longer my people, and instead assigned his sons to govern them with equity. This is reflected in Deuteronomy 32:8 as preserved in the Dead Sea Scrolls. When the Most High gave the nations their inheritance, he, God, set the boundaries of the peoples according to the number of the sons of God, the ones who attended his council. In other words, Yahweh assigned his sons to govern the nations, but those sons of God failed. Psalm 82:2 says, these beings judge unjustly and show partiality to the wicked. Subsequently, these corrupt members of God's council became the gods of the nations, territorial powers. And when people worship them, that's idolatry. So when Psalm 86:8 says, among the gods there is none like you, O Lord, these gods are not figments of Israel's imagination. Rather, they are real divine entities like Chemosh, god of the Moabites, or Molech, the god of the Ammonites. Yahweh, displeased with their corruption, pronounces judgment. You are gods, all of you, sons of the Most High, but you will die like men and fall like any prince. Psalm 82:6-7. This judgment is to be fulfilled at the end on the day of the Lord. Finally, God's one singular plan. God's plan is to restore all things heaven and on earth so that these two families will be one in the eternal state of the New Eden, described so vividly in the final chapter of the Bible, aka the new heavens and new earth. Return to Deuteronomy 32, after the nations are disinherited. Verse 9 says, for the Lord's portion is his people, Jacob is the allotment of his inheritance. Meaning what? Beginning with Abraham, Jacob's grandfather, God formed a distinct nation, Israel, Jacob's new name given by God, from which came Judah, the Davidic line, and ultimately Jesus Christ, who atoned for the sins of the whole world. By extension, Acts 2 is a turning point. Diaspora Jews from many nations heard the disciples speaking in their own languages, a reversal of Babel. That moment signals the beginning of the end for the gospel nations and the fulfillment of Psalm 82:8. Rise up, O God, judge the earth, for all the nations are your inheritance. May I add, again. When the nations are restored to Yahweh through the gospel, believers will displace the gods of nations and rule in their place as Yahweh's children and co-rulers, extending Eden to the rest of the world. 3 takeaways. 1. Free will matters. We are given freedom. Use it wisely and don't abuse it like the sons of God. 2. Pray against the influence of the gods of the nations. Pray against spiritual forces that bring harm and injustice. For example, I pray that God would diminish the power of the territorial God beyond Boko Haram, an Islamic terrorist organization responsible for severe violence, including killing thousands of Christians. 3. Know what mission is all about. Before you go on missions, short-term or long-term, understand that you are joining God's work to bring nations back to Him through the gospel. That's mission in the unseen realm.